Are you really fed up of going from a page to page to page to do a certain thing? Have you ever wished that Salesforce should have a link or a button on which whenever you click, the action gets executed? So let me tell you, there is a thing like this. Actions. Now, as always, I'm going to divide this topic into 4 points. First is, what are actions and what purpose do they solve? Second, different types of actions. Third, how to create and use these actions. And fourth, points to remember. So now let's see what are actions. Actions are similar to buttons and links which give users access to the things in a go. For example, like currently if you want to create a related record, then you must have to go to that particular record on which you want to create a related record, and then scroll down, go to that related list, click on that button, new, whatever the object's name is, and then you have to click, then there opens a new page on which you enter the detail and then click on save. And then when you need to go back to that page again, you need to go to click to the back button on that browser, and then only then you'll be able to go back to that particular page. What if I tell you that there can be a link or a simple button on which you'll simply create, on which you'll simply click, and then a layout will be opened over there. Over there you can enter the details, whatever you want for that related record, and click on save. You'll be on that page only, you'll not switch to another page, and a record will also be created which will be automatically associated to that record on which you have used that particular action. This is what actions do. This is where actions help you out. You want a contact to to send an email to that contact automatically. You don't want to go to that related list, click on that button, go to different page, write the email and send it to them. What you want is go to that account page. On that page only, simply click on the link. Here's the details, whatever you want to send to that person, to that contact, and just send those emails from there only. You do not need to switch from a page to a different page. This is what the purpose which actions fulfill, or what actions do. Let's see the next point. Using these actions, we can create or update a record, log a call, send an email, or do custom things like opening a Visualforce page or Lightning component. What it means is that with the help of actions, you can create a record, update an existing record, you can log a call, you can send an email, or you can do custom things. What I mean by custom things is you can call you can launch a Visualforce page, you can launch a Lightning component, whatever you want to do, you can do with the help of these actions. So all these things you can do with the actions only. And if you want to do any of this thing without switching from page to page, create an action. Third point. All the actions have their own action layouts which specify the fields that will be available on that particular action. Whenever you'll go to create an action, there are basically 2 types of action which we are going to discuss after this only. So whichever action you're going to create, there will be an action layout which you have to specify. And what that action layout contains is all the fields which you want to be available on that particular action. For example, you are creating an action to create a record of object A. In that action to create a record of object A, what you are doing is you are specifying the action layout, and you are putting on all the fields of that object A which you want to be entered with that action. There are 10 to let's take an example. There are 50 fields on that particular object, and you want only 10 fields to be available while creating that object's record while using that action. So you'll put only those 10 fields into that action layout, so that all the 40 fields which are left, those are not entered by the users, those are taken by default, or those are being vacant only. So action layouts are also similar to page layouts only. These specifies the fields which will be available on that particular action. So every action has its associated action layout. We'll see in the demo also. These actions can be used on Salesforce Classic, Salesforce Lightning, and Salesforce One. Okay, so whenever you create an action, it will be available on your Salesforce Classic also. It will be available on your Salesforce One also. Salesforce One, what I mean by that is mobile application on which there will be a navigation menu, and in that navigation menu, you'll go to that object on which you want to do whatever you want to do, and on that object's record there will be a menu below down. And when you click on the 3 dots available over there, there will be a list of actions which you want to do, or which you want to be happen when clicking on that button. For example, you want to send an email to a person, to a contact or something like that. you'll simply click on that menu, there will be a list of actions, you'll select send email action, and then the email is gone. That's it. So these actions can be displayed on all of these three views, or whatever the view you are trying to create. So there are two different pages also in Salesforce. One is the global pages, second one is object specific pages. Global pages are basically like in Salesforce Classic, these are home page and chatter page, and in Salesforce One it's like chatter feeds, or you can say groups pages, on which these global actions will be appear, which we'll gonna see right now next to this. So now let's see how many type of actions do we have in Salesforce. Basically we do have two types of actions in Salesforce. First is object specific actions and second one is global actions. Let's see what is the basic difference between both of them. These actions are created in the context of a particular object. It's signified by its name only, that these are object specific actions, can only be created on an object and can only be used on the page layout or on the detail page of that particular object's record. Whereas global actions can be used globally on the chatter feed page, home page and groups page. These actions gets created in the setup menu only as a global action, and these actions can be used anywhere where actions are supported, especially in the chatter feed page, home page and groups page, and also in the Salesforce One. It can also be used in the Salesforce One, but can only be used on that particular object's record, whereas global actions can be used anywhere. Now let's see the second difference. Automatically gets associated with a record. Let me take an example. There's object A, there's object B. A is on the one side, B is on the many side. Now we are creating an object specific action on the object A, and that action is creating a record of object B. Okay, and whenever we create an object, a record of object B, in that situation this record gets associated with the record of object A on which we are using that action. Whereas in global action, like if we have created a global action which creates a record of object B, when using that action, or when using that global action to create object B's record, it doesn't get associated with any of the records of object A or any other object also. So global actions, like whenever we create an object, create a record of whenever we create a record using global actions, these records does not get associated with any other record. Whereas object specific, like whenever we create a record using object specific actions, these records gets associated with the one side object's record on which that action is used. Now let's get to the third point. Use when you only want this action to be displayed on records detail page. You need to use this you first need to figure it out that do I need to create an object specific action or do I need to create a global action? So for that you need to figure out that do you really need this action on this particular object's records detail page only, or you want this action to be everywhere, to be present everywhere. You first need to figure it out. And if you only want that action to be available on that particular object's records detail page, then create an object specific action. And if you want that action to be displayed everywhere on like different objects detail page, objects records detail page, also on the chatter feed page, home page and groups page, then you need to create a global action over here. Use when you want action to be displayed everywhere where actions are supported. You can create a global action and put this global action everywhere where actions are supported, but it is not possible with the object specific actions. This is also a difference between both of them. Now the fourth point is can only be added to page layouts on the object on which it is created. For example, let's take an example. There is object A and I have created an action to create a record of object B on this object A only. So I can use this action only on the records only on the object's A's page layout, not on any other object. Whereas global actions can be used in any page layouts, like can be used in any object's page layout wherever you want. And also they can be added to publisher layouts which controls actions on the chatter feed page and home page. We all know that chatter feed page and home page, these are not the objects, but still there are actions displayed over there. So these actions are controlled by where? Global publisher layout. These global publisher layout controls that which actions will be displayed on home page and chatter feeds page. So this is the basic difference between both of them. Now let's see how to create it.
Now let me tell you what I was trying to say. I was just saying that
whenever you go on object A's record and you want to create object B's record, which is related to object A, where object A is on the one side of the relationship and object B is on the many side of the relationship, you need to scroll down to this related list and you need to click to this button, and then you need to enter the information whatever you want to enter, like asset, registered date, name, anything. It is related to object A is Michael, number is this, contact is this, and we'll just simply save this record. Oh, it's invalid currency, it's currency. And here we have created an object B's record which is related to object A, and again if you want to go to that object A, we'll have to use the back or this link, use the back button of the browser or this link, and now here we are on the object A's record. Isn't it very hectic, or isn't it very a long process to do? So in order to reduce this number of steps or number of clicks, we can create an action on this object, and that action will be object specific action, because what we are doing is we are just creating object B's record which will be related to the object A's record on which we are using the action, and that will be available over here only. Let's say for example, here is a link, you'll click on that link, there will be all the fields and you'll enter the field like the information or the field values, and simply you'll click on save, then an object B's record will be created. Let's see how you do it. So for that, we'll simply go to that particular object on which we want to create an action like this, and we're going to back object A. Over here is the related list, is new action, we'll click on this. Here it's action type. Action type defines that what action, like what this action will do. Will it create a record? Will it send an email? Will it log a call? Will it be a custom visual force, or will it update a record? Whatever. What we are trying to do right now is to create a record, and we have to select the target object. Target object will be the many side objects which are related to this object. So here we are seeing that here is object B. We have selected object B. Now label type will simply new child record. Here the label will be like new child object B. If you want to change it like this, so create new object B, it will appear like this. And over here I'll write down the name whatever I like to. Here is the description for the administrators or for the other users. Here is feed item. If we'll check it, there will be a feed item updated or there will be a feed item created whenever we create a record. Here is the success message. Yoo-hoo. Successfully created record of object B. Yes, and then save. Now here is the action layout for which I was talking about. This action layout is similar to the page layout. Page layout determines that which fields will be available on that particular object's detailed and edit page. Similarly, action layouts determine that which fields will be available when we are using that particular action. So let's say we are using only these fields, registered date and contact, that's it. We only want these 4 fields to be updated when to be entered while we are using this action to create this object B's record. Save. After saving, action is created. Now what we need to do is we need to add this action to the page layout of object B. I repeat, we need to add this action to the page layout of object A's, object A. And before that, we need to first see that where does actions appear. So in custom objects, this is a custom object obviously. To see all the actions over here, we first need to enable feed tracking. And for feed tracking, we'll simply go into the setup and enter feed tracking. And here's the object, where it is, object A, and we'll enable the feed tracking and we'll select the fields whichever we want to be tracked and save. And similarly, if you want to enable it for object B also, then we'll select any of the fields and click on save. Similar. Okay, after doing this, I'll refresh the object A's record, which is of Michael, and here are all the actions. Okay, as you can see, these are all the actions which are available on this object's detail page. Now, what we need to do is we need to edit the page layout of this object. For that, we'll go to Objects, Object A, and Object A's page layout is over here. We'll edit it, and we'll go to Quick Actions and Salesforce Lightning Actions. The basic difference between Quick Actions and Salesforce Lightning Actions is Quick Actions are used or are visible in the Salesforce Classic view, which is we are using currently, and Salesforce One and Lightning Actions are are the actions which will be available on the Salesforce One mobile app or on the Lightning experience. So to add this action, what we'll do is Quick Actions, like we are on the object A page layout, create new object B. We'll drop this over here. And as you can see, we are unable to drop this action over here. So we first need to override this global publisher layout and add this over here. And if you want to present it on the second position, I'll put it over here. If I want it to be available on the third position, I'll put it like here, put it over here. And to add actions in the Salesforce One mobile app also, or on the Lightning Actions also, I need to click on Salesforce One and Lightning Actions. Then I need to drop this over here in the Salesforce One and Lightning Experience Actions. So we'll click on Override similarly, and we'll set it over here. Now I'll click on Save. Now let's go to the record of Michael. Refresh. As you can see here, it's a new action, create new object B. Whenever you click on it, these are the fields which are available, and these fields are controlled by that action layout, because only 4 fields are coming which we have shown on that action layout. Now if I enter asset or liability, whatever I am entering over here is just a simple thing. Here it's currency or that contact, registered date, I want to select as this and create. Previously only asset was related to this Michael's record. Now if I'll refresh it, liability record is also related to this. So this is how actions work in Salesforce Classic. Now let's see how actions will work in the Salesforce One experience or in the Salesforce One mobile app. Now let's see how does these actions work in our Salesforce One. It must be very shaky and you must be feeling like what he's doing actually, but the problem is I do have a screen recorder with me on this phone, but the problem is the Salesforce One app isn't working on that screen recorder. That is the reason I am recording it like this. So as you can see over here, I have object A's records tab, and whenever I'll click on it, I'll go to simply go to Anthony's record, and over here I can see all the menus over here, and when I click on it, I can see here I am getting create new object B, quick action. So I'll click on it. Here are only 4 fields coming. The reason is because I have added only 4 fields on the action layout. So this is also influenced by the action layout, and whenever I'll create any record, B's name, it's currency I guess, registered date I'll select, and contact, yeah, that's it. I'll click on save. So it's RRY. Here you can see Yoo-hoo, successfully created. This was the success message which we entered over there. And we are back to this Anthony's page, and here we can see on the related list we are getting object B's record, and this object B records has this record. So this is how sales quick actions, or you can say object specific actions, work on Salesforce One. Now let's see how does global actions work. First of all, we need to see that where does these global actions will show. These global actions will be displayed over here in this list in the chatter's feed page, or you can show these global actions on the objects detail page also, and it's not bounded to a particular object. You can show this global action on any of the objects. Like currently it's appearing as like create new object B over here, but it's an object specific action which we cannot show on the chatter's feed page over here. But global actions, we can show the global actions over here also. So we'll simply go to setup to create a global action, and we'll type in global actions, and in the global action we'll simply click on new action, create a record, target object. You can select any of the object, like select object B, or we can select object A also, and we'll select the label type as quick record. Then like the label will be quick object A, as simple as that. Quick object A underscore action, it's a simple name. And create feed item. A feed item will be created whenever we'll use this action. Success message. Wow, finally. Save. Now you can, as you can see that in object specific actions there was also an action layout, and in global actions also there will be an action layout which will describe that which fields will be available over here. So we'll simply drag and drop the fields which we want to be available over here, and we'll simply drop registration date and amount for A, and we'll click on save. So wherever we'll use this quick action or this global action, only these three fields will be appeared or will be visible to enter. Now we have successfully created a global action. Now what we want to do is we want to add it to chatter feeds page over here. And for that what we need to do is we'll need to go to setup. Over there we'll click on, like we'll enter publisher layout, and under global actions there is a publisher layout. We'll open that. We'll click on edit, not a new. If you want you can create a new global publisher layout also, but we'll simply edit the existing one. And over here as you can see, these only controls, global publisher layouts only controls the actions. These does not contain any fields or anything. These only control the actions which will be visible on the Salesforce Classic and on the Salesforce One and Lighting Experience. That is it. So we'll simply drop quick object A into it for the Salesforce Classic, and we'll reorder it and put it on the third position. And if you want to add the same global action on the Salesforce One and Lighting Experience also, we'll drag and drop it like this, and we'll click on save. So previously chatter feeds only had these global actions, and now as we have saved this, we'll simply click on refresh. As we can see, quick object A, simply click on the name, let's say as Anthony. I love the name Anthony. And the amount will be 15,000 and the registration date will be 50. Create. Let's see whether a record is created or not. Yes, it's created. Anthony. We have just created it. Anthony, and we have added the amount as 15,000. So we can use these global actions on the chatter feeds page also. And if we want to add this on any other object which is not related to it, like object B is obviously related to it, but if we want to create object A's record on the object B's detail page over here, like there'll be feeds, appearing over here, and if you want to create object A's record from object B also, then we'll simply go to we'll simply edit this page layout and drag and drop this quick actions into Salesforce Classic Publisher, and for Salesforce Lighting Experience we'll override these actions and drag and drop quick object A over here, and we'll click on save. That's it. And as we can see, quick object A is appearing over here, and now we'll create a record QWERTY, and amount we'll set as 20,000, and date I will set the date whatever we want. Create. Now let's see, object A's records QWERTY. Yes, it's created. So this is how global actions work. Now let's see how does they work in Salesforce One. Now as we have seen that object specific actions were working very pretty well while going on this navigation. Oh,
this is not navigation menu. On this navigation menu, on that particular tab and that object's record. Now let's see how does global actions work. We have created a quick object A, and as you can see, it's coming over here, quick object A. So we'll click on, oops, I guess, oh, where's Salesforce one? Over here we can see quick object A, and we can simply enter the name whatever we want to. We want to enter GWTRR and amount as anything, date as this only, and click on save. This is working perfectly fine, and the success message was also displayed. And if we'll go on object B's record, object B's records detail page, like RRTYG, which we have created right now only. Here also we are getting that global action, because we have added this global action on its page layout also. So quick object A and object A name, whatever you want to set, and amount as whatever. And we'll click on save. Wow, finally. So this is how global actions work on Salesforce 1. Hope you have understood. Now let's get back and see what points do you need to remember while creating an action in Salesforce.
Now, as you have seen that how to create an action and how to use it in different publisher layouts or the page layouts, it's time to see the points which you need to remember while creating an action. First, action type cannot be edited once an action is created. What is the action type? Create a record, update a record, send an email, log a call. Once you have created an action with any of these action type, you cannot edit it afterwards. This is the point that you need to remember. Second, global publisher layouts can only have global actions. Global publisher layouts does not cannot have object specific actions or any other thing. What they can all have is global actions. That's it. Third, the new records created from the global actions are not related with any other records. I have told this to you earlier also that, but whatever record you are creating with a global action, that record will not be associated with any other record of any other object or of the same object also, if there is a self relationship. Then comes the fourth point, action layout always have universally required fields. Obviously, because a record cannot be created without a universally required field. So now let's see. What you need to do to get weekly videos all related to Salesforce like these, hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel over here, and especially if you're watching this video on Facebook, there's a link down in the description. Hit that link, go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and let me know your thoughts, comments or suggestions if there are any. So see you next week. Until then, bye bye, take care.